The most important thing about filmmaking is seeing the world, seeing the patterns that exist in the world, and don't be afraid to analyze things.
In the last video, we talked about how you can connect to a cause that you care about in your local community. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can make your very own impact film. I made a documentary, but an impact film can take many forms. It could be a social media video, or a vlog, or a video essay, or an animation, or even a short film. So get creative in sharing your message. I think that documentary filmmaking is really accessible for anyone because you can film it with just you and a camera and even some free editing software, especially if you have a strong story that you're really passionate about telling. So that first film that I made, it was kind of unplanned. I was discovering the story as I went along. But for my film, Lest We Forget, there was more planning and preparation before I started. So I had a Google Doc where I basically blocked out the different parts of the film. And those evolved into completely different stories as I went along. But the main narrative was still there. So it's always good to go in with a plan, and you never know where it will take you. My top tips for interview success would be preparing beforehand. Important parts of that are making sure that your interviewee is in the loop, just to make sure they know exactly what questions you're going to ask so that they're prepared. Also, a location that's both convenient for them and also suitable for the interview, so it's not too loud. Try to keep the interview in a more conversational tone so that you can get the most natural, open and honest answers from your contributor. Very often, so much meaning can be conveyed just through the light in a shot, the expressions that are on people's faces, even more than the information that you share. The power that editing has is in building tension, conveying meaning through placement of shots.
We are passing these memories down to our children and our children's children.
For example, you've got two people walking down some pavement while my contributor is talking about the importance of memories being passed down from older generations to younger generations so that history is not lost. It also helps to block out parts of your edit through things like a corkboard, or if you're like on your commute to school, you'll have like a notebook with you or something so that when inspiration hits, you are ready to just take your pen and write down your thoughts about something that's been on your mind. But I didn't take any courses. You don't have to have any kind of experience to do this. You just build your confidence and you build your skills along the way. There's also so many resources on the internet. It's easier than ever to make a film. I really love making impactful documentaries, and I've learned so much with each one. But I want to go and speak to two professional documentary filmmakers to learn about their story and see what they have to share.
Hi, I'm Dan. I'm a filmmaker and activist.
I'm Hilary. I'm an artist and filmmaker, and our recent film is Power Station, that's just out in cinemas, a feature documentary. Power Station came when we were in deep lockdown, and we were reading a book by Anne Pettifor called The Case for the Green New Deal, and there was one sentence in it: every building a power station. So we just took that and kind of went for it. It's like, ooh, could we turn our street into a power station? What would that look like? Can we imagine a whole street powered by renewable energy?
What kind of advice can you give to someone who wants to make an impact in their local community?
I think it is starting with what you know or in your place, or like what's accessible to you, so you don't have to look for this story elsewhere. The power station, it was really grounded in our home place. So we were really inspired by that Grierson quote, like the drama is on the doorstep.
The most important thing about filmmaking is seeing the world, seeing the patterns that exist in the world, if there are injustices happening. So I think before you set off on some massive adventure, make sure that you've seen things and understood them in your way, and don't be afraid to analyze things.
For your story that you're trying to tell in your local community, in your local area, how do you get them to open up, convince them to talk to you?
You have to be confident in your own reason for filming. If you have a strong belief in your project, then persuading people to come into it isn't really difficult, because you're building something good together. And also just by being really straight up, this is what the film's about, not being afraid of people saying no, because it's much like more important to be transparent about what your film is, where you're coming from, what you're trying to say, and have people say no, rather than having them say yes on some kind of false pretense.
Inviting people to join you and maybe a bit of mischief making. There is some element of fun in there, like you present a kind of bold question or challenge and try and invite people to come along with you on that journey.
So forming the structure of the narrative and weaving the characters in so that they lead you through the story involves a lot of thinking, looking over your footage. Why is the editing such an important part of the filmmaking process?
Gosh, yeah, it is a massive thing, particularly with documentary, because you are really creating the film in that edit. Our Power Station film, it was so multi-layered with all these other characters, and they dip in and out of the story. But they're all important to the street. We're plotting out like their miniature little story arcs. They might be tiny, but like, why are they there and why are they coming back?
Do you have any practical advice for someone who may have never picked up a camera before?
If you just start where you actually are, with the skills that you have, the equipment that you have, and you turn around a film, whatever it might be, it will have lots of flaws, but you'll only get to know that by doing it, testing it with an audience and getting real feedback. And what you will learn on that first film will then inform the next one, and so on and so on and so on.
I think some of it is getting over feeling precious about your finished film, because there can always be a route to creating your vision and getting it out to like more rarefied audiences. But along the way, actually, it's just really important to share your process and build your community. And that way you can kind of galvanize people to support you.
So what impact have you been most proud to see?
Sometimes it's just those little moments or little emails that come through of what it made someone feel after watching the film. And often that feeling is of hope and empowerment. And that feels like, okay, that's what we really wanted, that whatever we created within that story has the ability to make others think that they can also take action and make their own stories. And it's harder to, really quantify, but that impact feels the most important and the one that we were really aiming for.
So we're on the exact same street where the Power Station documentary was filmed. This is where Dan and Hilary's local community lives. And it's incredible standing here surrounded by all these people and all these local residents, reminded of the incredible impact that their film made and how it presented how a small community project can really serve as a symbol of wider nationwide issues that need solving. I had such a fantastic conversation with them. It really inspired me to continue my filmmaking. Now it's your turn. Pick up a camera, anything will do. Decide what style or format your film will be. Even a 1-minute video can be really powerful. And then go out and make your film. Good luck, and I'll see you soon.